So I turn my podcast on, turn the volume up, push play to hear what these dudes will say. 'Cause for romance now I know that there are only hope.
Hey everybody, I hope you're having a great night so far. Welcome to another episode of A Talk to Remember. I'm one of the four hosts, Brandon Clay Taylor, and across the way through the table is Mr. Mikey Blagg.
Hey man, how's it going?
And of course, hailing all the way from Arkansas, we got Mr. Bradley Toon.
This is one of the greatest intros we've ever had. And I really missed you guys last time. So really happy to be back.
We missed you, man. Brandon can't be serious right now because he's got to keep his voice going. Brandon?
Well, I missed him as well. I'm so glad he's back. And now we got Mr. Nathan McDivitt all the way from Conway, the same place as Bradley.
Conway? I'd be more worried about them coyotes if I were yours.
Oh, hot diggity. And by George, we got old Taylor Anthony manning the plot.
Sure.
Plot man.
Plot man.
All right, Mikey, let's get it started.
Okay, well, get us started then.
Well, I guess we're going to start. Okay, everybody, we're going to start it on this movie. And the movie that we're doing today is Now and Then.
There it is.
Brandon, were you trying to be Harry Carey or the Prospector?
I was trying to be Harry Carey, but then when you started talking like the Prospector,
Gus Chiggins. Chiggins. Chiggins.
Gotta watch out for them coyotes. That's all I remember, but I love it.
We did that like every single day when we worked together, didn't we?
We did. That was so much fun. That was a nice reprieve.
That's good. All right. Now and then. Every now and then.
So this is our coming of age for round 3. We had a lot of people request this.
I was today years old when I realized what coming of age meant as far as movie goes. Yeah, I don't know why I thought it was like I thought coming of age was not so much to the person as to the world. And so I was like thinking they were all futuristic, and I was like, these are not futuristic movies at all.
Gotcha. There have been some comments that you've made that I wondered, does he know what this genre is?
The answer is no.
But now you do. Now you do. So
Grace
so
abounds.
We're good. A lot of requests though. People had said, Bradley, you weren't here when we did this one, but I don't know if you've seen it. But people said this was like a Steel Magnolias had a baby with Stand By Me. And to an extent, sure. And to another extent, no, not at all. Not even close. So that's where I'm landing. No spoilers yet, but there's a lot of this movie left to be desired. And I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm excited Bradley's back. I'm excited that we're doing this together. I really wish a girl could have been here because I wonder what they feel about this movie. I wonder if they can look at this and say, yeah, that seems pretty realistic. Because I don't know, y'all. I don't know. But I think we should just get into it. Taylor, you got that poster ready?
I do.
Are we recording, Taylor?
We are.
Nice. I knew we were.
It's always good to double check.
So here it is. This is not the poster I saw, but
me either. But I like
perfect.
This one.
Yeah. So we'll just kind of do this on the fly. And anytime we do things on the fly, I want to over to Brandon first. Brandon, what do you think of this poster?
After I took a couple sips of my sparkling grape juice that I got from Mom and Dad's house, I have to say that I thought it was going to be 4 orphan girls raised by 4 single women that all live together. And I'm sticking by that.
So there's a lot of it's like they're in the clouds and they're wearing a lot of white and denim. So maybe this is like some kind of Western heaven or something. I don't know. That's what I'm gonna pull out there, Nathan.
Well, with the denim and white t-shirt, the white and denim mix reminds me of like a beach photo.
Okay.
For one. Now, this is not the one that I looked at, but also I just happened to notice that all of the girls who are matched with their selves, they look a lot alike except for Rosie and her and the little girl that plays the same character. Also, last thing I'll mention, souvenirs deet.
I did not see that till just now. Also, the best coming of age since Stand By Me. I'm going to give that a right out the gate fart noise.
Yeah, well, it's based in the 70s. The future is like so far away from us. I don't even understand how that could be.
Bradley, what do you think?
Yeah, I kind of thought it was like a mother-daughter team-up adventure kind of deal.
That makes sense.
So y'all covered most of the things, but it also just very, very confident self-proclamation with saying they're the best coming-of-age movie since Stand By Me. So you're setting the bar very high for yourself when your poster is that, and they did not reach that bar personally.
Also, it was Thora Birch was in Hocus Pocus, and she played a great little sister.
That is a fun fact. The other little girl there, one of them was in Sleepless in Seattle as the annoying neighbor.
Yeah.
That talked the boy into flying across the country.
Was that the girl on the left?
Wow.
That's little Demi Moore there.
Oh, my gosh.
And I think the girl on the far right, she was in the Addams Family.
For sure. And then the other one, I don't know anything about her. Got nothing for you. Grab your stuff, head back to camp. There's nothing. There's nothing there. But there it is. Taylor, let's get rid of this. I don't want to look at it anymore. All right. So we got a lot of plot to cover. A lot. Y'all ready to just jump right in, or you got any pre-movie things you want to get out there?
I got nothing.
All right. Taylor, let's do it.
Okay. Set in modern day, four childhood friends, antisocial sci-fi author Samantha Sam Albertson, glitz and glamour-loving actress Tina Teeny Tercel, dry-humored gynecologist Dr. Roberta Martin, and content homemaker Chrissy DeWitt reunite in their small Indiana hometown of Shelby to support Chrissy, heavily pregnant and expected to give birth to her first child any day. Narrated by Sam, the story focuses on the summer of 1970 when the group, led by her 12-year-old self, sought to earn enough money to purchase a treehouse to place in the backyard of Chrissy's parents' home in their affluent suburban neighborhood called the Gaslight Edition, and how they overcame major personal struggles. Sam and her parents' divorce and her mother's subsequent dating, Teeny in her pursuit of stardom and good looks, Roberta in overcoming the death of her mother and the embarrassment she experiences due to her developing breasts, and Chrissy's naivety about sex and life in general due to her mother's overprotective nature. Longest sentence ever. Also, the girls, motivated by Sam's interest in the occult, regularly participate in seances, and that summer in particular, they focused on contacting the spirit of a young man whose gravestone read simply, "Dear Johnny," who died 25 years prior in 1945.
Okay, so you said, because I haven't looked, that on Wikipedia there's a lot of paragraphs, and that was one?
That was one. It is by far the longest.
It's long. It's long.
I feel like that told basically most of the movie.
It's almost like that was a summary, and then maybe we'll go into a plot. I would like to ask you, Taylor, and I'm sorry to bring you in so early. Could you tell me what a content homemaker is?
Content. Probably content.
I didn't even catch it.
Shots fired.
It's hard when content or content and homemaker are on two different lines. It's the first word. So trying to make
No, that's good. I'm just giving you a hard time.
As you should.
Okay, so Mikey, this I thought about you as the first as soon as this opened.
Red Rover?
No, before that.
Okay.
I did write down. No, it was okay. Just after the beginning.
Okay.
The narrator is Demi Moore, right? Mm-hmm. And you're always one who's like the narrator sets the tone. So I'm curious, what tone was set? What did you
A
think?
swing and a miss. A swing and a
Was it?
miss. I think even out of all those adult women, she would have been the last one I would have chose. Like, because her voice is just kind of raspy and no emotion. Like,
Dude, it sounds like she smokes like 40
And
packs
she
of
did.
cigarettes a day.
and she did.
Yeah.
honestly, I loved her as Esmeralda in Hunchback of Notre
I know
Dame.
you
It's
did.
my only role I liked her in, but I want to rewatch it now because I don't remember her voice being that raspy as a gypsy.
What about in Ghost? He was pretty good. She was pretty good in Ghost.
Yeah,
She cried well.
her and that pottery. What a joke.
So, and then his paragraph said that it begins modern day, but it began with Red Rover. And I'm gonna be honest,
Yeah.
when the Red Rover game's going, like it had one of my favorite TV shows, maybe top 2 favorite TV shows of all time, is The Wonder Years. I love The Wonder Years. And with Red Rover, I thought, oh, this has potential. Like we're gonna be like, this is gonna be a true coming of age set like long ago. I loved Red Rover. Brandon didn't even know what Red Rover was.
What?
That scene.
Wow.
Yeah.
Really?
I've never played the game.
Wow.
So I mean, like we had to talk about Red Rover.
It seems violent. Like
I'm not-
honestly,
I'm not gonna lie. I've never played Red Rover, and someone's actually stopped them. I don't know if I played with the
Very
wrong
rare.
people,
Very
but
rare.
people bust through the Red Rover wall pretty often.
This vice grip, I would break my partner's wrist before I let somebody bust through them.
I
that's
believe
not-
that too. I believe that too. But yeah, like so at the beginning, like that first scene, like I know she's narrating, but I guess the better way to say this is how long did it take you before you checked out? Like how long into the movie before you were like, yeah, this is not good? Because right then I was still in.
I began to check out when the 12-year-old was taping her boobs in the bra. That was
Okay.
when I was like, this is a weird thing
Yeah.
for me to watch.
Yeah, Brandon.
yeah. Honestly, I think I was doing something. I don't think I ever checked in too well. So I was kind of like just perpetually checked out.
Yeah.
I did check back in at one point, but check back out.
Yeah. Bradley, did it take you long, or were you?
I don't know about checked out. One of the first red flags, just personally, and then this may have been the director's intent, but their like reunion when they all got to the house as grown-ups was really awkward, and not the chemistry was not great. I didn't think like it was just a really awkward like, oh yay, you're back. I don't know. It was just it weirded me out, and I thought, I don't know about it. I don't know about this.
I agree. And I was going to say it's similar. Like for me, when it showed them in the past, I was like, oh, I could do this. But when they got to the future, I was like, man, I don't like any of these people at all.
Yeah.
Rita Wilson. Oh, I mean, it's hard not to like Rita Wilson. I've always liked Rita Wilson, but even her, she was annoying in this. So it was just tough. He talked about a lot. I don't know how much we want to get into. I don't know. Like, what should we do? Should we see?
I think let's see where it goes. I think it'll. I haven't read it, but I'm pretty sure it'll begin to narrate more than it did.
Does it kind of start back over there, Taylor, and talk about like what's it say?
Yeah, it jumps to story flashback to 1970. So it does the
Let's do
seance.
that.
Okay.
Let's keep going.
So the story flashes back to 1970 when the girls had 2 goals: saving enough money to buy a treehouse and avoiding the Warmer brothers. Warmer. The Warmer
I
brothers.
did love the Wormers.
One night, they sneak out to the cemetery to perform a seance. A cracked tombstone convinces them they have resurrected the spirit of a young boy identified only as Dear Johnny, who died in 1945 at the age of 12. Intrigued, they search for information at the library but find nothing.
Okay, perfect. So yeah, first bit of positive. I mean, I dug the Wormers. They were just a bunch of punk kids throwing water balloons at girls.
And it was filled with Jello. Jello full of water balloons.
That's not the Jello balloons come later.
I blew it. I'm the worst. Y'all should fire me. I'm one of them.
They just threw water.
Darn it. I hate this.
But they were just punks, and I liked them. Also, even though she was only in one scene, I like Bonnie Hunt. I've always thought that lady was funny. And so when she's talking to her daughter about sex, I thought sandwiches. I thought, oh, if this lady keeps coming back, she could be a funny part to this movie. Then we never see her again. They get
that was interesting. I did think that was so they you don't really get a lot of they center the movie around the girls. You don't get much context for them as far as from other people. You get like as they tell a story. So I think that's kind of cool that they kind of told the story of the summer kind of through their own eyes rather than, like you get to meet her once. I think maybe Demi or whatever, little Demi's mom, you see her a couple of times when she goes on a date or something like that, but not really. And then I'm trying to think, the other girl's mom's dead. And what about I forgot the fourth one.
So you've got the Rita Wilson, the little girl that's her parents were really wealthy and never around, or was that the
That's
other
right.
girl?
That's right. No, that's Teeny, whichever one that one was.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah, I did think that was kind of interesting. It was all just the girls. It was focused on the girls, which made it really easy to check out.
Yeah.
Weird things happen.
Well, and again, yes. So I'll tell you what, like even on the poster, it talks about the best coming of age since Stand By Me. But when this whole thing focused on a seance for a dead little boy named whose headstone said Dear Johnny, like not even a full name. I'm sorry, man. Like I was done.
But don't forget about Crazy Pete.
Crazy Pete.
So we saw a glimmer of hope with Crazy Pete.
I did like Crazy Pete.
I did too. I told Brandon from the get-go, and it came back to be true. Crazy Pete will be the old man from Home Alone.
Yep.
Like he's going to have that kind of redemption story. Also found out from Brandon, who when we watch movies, Brandon basically becomes a Wikipedia where he just learns facts the whole time. He told me that the old man was in Robin Hood, Prince of Thieves with my man Kevin Costner, which made me love him even more. He was the old blind man. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but he was Duncan, which is fantastic. So
I have a segue here.
Okay.
Treehouse. That treehouse stood the test of time.
Yeah.
Dude.
Yes, it did.
This is the question. Did you all ever build a treehouse or try to build a treehouse?
I did.
I tried, then Jeff built it.
So okay.
Did it stand the test of time?
20 years later, did it look the same or better?
To be honest, we only lived there for like 3 years, so who knows?
So we didn't have Dad's help. We built one, like a few of us, and I mean, I don't think it lasted a summer. Like that thing did. Did you have one?
It started out as a tree house. We had a really cool tree in the backyard, and we got up there. We put boards. We just had boards that connected these two branches. There was no house. It was just a tree seat, and so it lasted a long time. But it was a tree seat, not a tree house.
Bradley?
No, we grew up in the flatlands of Oklahoma with not many trees. So my backyard's never had a ton of trees. We made a baseball field, me and some neighbor kids, out of this empty lot across the street, which was really cool. Yeah, but 3 months later, they built a house on it. So the dreams were dashed pretty quickly.
Did they come?
They came.
We built it and they came. Yep. Very true.
So
good. Taylor, you said that they went to the library, right?
The next one goes into it.
Okay. So we're still on the trip to the library.
Yeah.
So I want to talk about the minute where they stopped for a minute because the one girl, is it Chrissy? Is Chrissy Rita Wilson? I think so. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter, people. That's what this movie is.
Yes,
Chrissy says, well, I don't care if you guys go or not. I'm stopping. And so a bird poops on her head. And so have you guys ever been pooped on by a bird?
Yes.
I for sure have.
I think so. I don't know. Maybe.
Ever happened? Bradley?
I haven't, but when my wife was training for the marathon she ran, she came back and pretty upset and just had a huge glob of bird feces right on her shoulder. So that was pretty memorable moment.
Did you, Brandon?
I've never had it.
So I remember when I was a little kid, probably 5, 6, I was at my aunt's house. And she had one of those like bouffant hairdos, you know the kind I'm talking about? And a bird thought it was a nest and crashed into her, which was the best. And then I remember I made fun of her for years. And then when I was about 9 or 10, I was playing hide and seek with some friends of mine, and I got it. It got me. It got me on the head. So
Okay, life comes back.
revenge.
Couldn't have happened to a better person.
So I mean, a lot, like when we were watching, I know a lot of people might think the bird poop thing a little far-fetched. I've been there. I've lived that life. What happened to you, Taylor?
I was a young kid, and it was New York Harbor. We were eating food, and we were, I believe we could see the Statue of Liberty, and it was a seagull, and I was wearing my Jeff Gordon
Rainbow Warrior.
I didn't care. No, I didn't care about NASCAR. It was this must have been post '97. He had a Star Wars design car from like Phantom Menace for a special night race. So I got a T-shirt for, and it ruined that shirt. It's probably why I hate birds now.
Hey, what were you eating, and were you able to finish after you got pooped on?
I don't remember what I ate. I'm very confident I finished whatever I was eating at that time.
Man, I thought you'd have remembered.
One last thing on the trip to the library was they find little wormer boys, the little wormer family swimming in the pond or lake or whatever. And I'm butt naked. I just, to me, I don't care how old you are, skinny dipping with your brothers, kind of weird. Kind of a weird thing to me.
That made me so uncomfortable.
He
Like
hated the whole scene.
That's where I checked out. I was done because they showed those young boys, like they showed what they sit on. They showed
their butts,
their buns. Yes, they did, and they shouldn't show that on television. Those are children.
Yeah, he really got upset about that. But
so you were. I can't believe you were more uncomfortable by that than that girl taping her boobs down. That was that made me really uncomfortable. I almost stopped.
Attention to that scene.
That did.
Yeah,
this movie had several uncomfortable moments.
Also, I mean, how are they? They're 12 years old.
They're young. Yeah.
A seance in a graveyard.
I know. You
got to give it to them, man. They are some brave girls.
I will say,
in that graveyard a lot. Go ahead, Bradley.
Yeah. I don't have a lot of pros for this movie, more cons than pros. But one of the pros I do think is that even from the beginning, it brought a lot of nostalgia back to the times where, and it's not really like this anymore, but the summers where just your parent, you'd walk out the front door, sunrise, be back at sunset, doing whatever, riding your bikes with your friends and doing whatever, making mistakes, doing crazy things. I didn't talk about puberty near as much as these people.
No.
But it did evoke that nostalgia. But the things they did with that freedom, just weird. Yeah. I don't know.
Well, Oh, go ahead, Mikey.
No, I was just going to say, I agree with Mikey what he said earlier. I would love to hear a girl's perspective if this is real or not.
Yeah, because I thought these girls were just pretty dark for their age. Like, I'm sure that the girls talk about the stuff they talk about, but I don't know. They didn't seem very like joyful, or it just seemed like a lot. I don't know. They seem to be having mature conversations, especially in that time, because it was set in the 60s or 70s.
Vietnam.
Yeah. 70s. Oh yeah, because we meet that guy.
Random Brendan Fraser pops up in a minute.
That was also uncomfortable for me.
I mean,
so uncomfortable.
You guys want to smoke?
And then he drank all that girl's orange soda. What a horrible person. Well, like, he wasn't redemptive. Like, I think the only takeaway was like that one girl said, I think her name was Samantha. She said, your parents are sometimes wrong. And that's all they took from it. Like, he didn't have a deeper meaning. It was so terrible.
It was and I mean, that's coming up, but it was a weird scene. Taylor, keep us going.
Let's go.
All right. So later, while heading for the library in a nearby town, the girls spy the Wormer brothers skinny dipping in the lake. To retaliate for a prank the boys played on them, the girls steal their clothes, tossing them onto the road while riding off. At the library, Roberta discovers an article about her mother being killed in a car accident. She was hit head-on, trapped in the car for an hour, and then later died of massive head trauma and internal bleeding. Facts previously unknown to her. Samantha finds an obituary that briefly mentions Dear Johnny and his mother tragically dying, but many pages are missing, leaving the cause of their deaths a mystery.
Keep on going. Keep on going.
All right.
This
Well-
next one's like 2 sentences.
Cool. While riding back to their town, the girls encounter a hitchhiking Vietnam veteran. The girls ask him questions about the war and his time there. He is predominantly evasive and tells them their parents aren't always right, something that Samantha loudly agrees with. You want me to keep going?
And I mean, I think that's
good.
all we
That's
need to
good.
say about. We've covered Brendan Fraser's part. Like, there just wasn't much to it.
Brendan Fraser is a very odd actor to me, and that's all I have to say.
What you got to back that up? Like, what? How so?
I just think, and it's hard because I'm a real goofy guy.
Uh-huh.
I think he's a really goofy actor, and I don't like it. I just don't.
That's very hypocritical.
Like, I think he's a nice guy, but super goofy, and he needs to grow up. And I need to grow up. And that's how I feel.
What else? See, it's like Tarzan, he's kind of a goofy one. What else is
The Mummy.
Encino Man.
The Mummy, right?
the Mommy? That was
The
an
one that
interesting-
takes the cake is Tim and Elizabeth Hurley, and he's
Bedazzled.
bedazzled. I hate him in
What?
Bedazzled. It drives me nuts.
He's great in Scrubs.
He was great. That's where I was going to land. I think
Yeah.
he was awesome in Scrubs.
I will say he was. I take it back. I take it all back. He's a clean boy.
That's awesome. Yeah, that was an interesting whole dynamic. Like just so freely giving away cigarettes. I just thought that was so
weird.
such a peculiar thing. Actually, it started the really bad habit that Demi Moore's character Samantha had. She now smokes like a chimney.
Never stops.
And but let's go back to the library.
Yeah.
That was a pretty crazy. I'm trying to put myself in a position where you find out details of your parent's death, like in a newspaper. That's pretty dark, man. That's pretty dark.
And this is like, so I mean, I'm sure everybody's probably got something to say here, but this is like, so this movie, I didn't like connect, obviously, that's what it is. But it did try to like have a deep meaning and things like that. The problem was, even when that was going on, it was just like, man, and they weren't even bad actors.
Mhm.
I just couldn't get in. Like I know that was a sad scene, and I did like what you're saying, put yourself in those shoes, but like, because she did that earlier. I don't think we touched on it, but they're swimming and she fakes her own death and freaks all her friends out. Chrissy tremendously gets freaked out, punches her in the face, like, don't ever do that again. And through all of it, I'm thinking, man, this is a troubled kid, but I just didn't have, like, there wasn't a lot of connection to her, so I never really felt for her, which sucks. But I mean, I just got to be honest, I didn't get there, so I don't know about. And then the Dear Johnny stuff, like, so they're there,
Yeah.
they find that newspaper, and
Is that where they find out that he was murdered? Like he and his wife, or was it in another spot?
so they find out that he died, but I don't think they found out because the pages were missing. I think that's coming up at Grandma's.
That's right.
Psychic.
That's right.
Yeah. Yeah, that's for the waitress psychic, that lady. That's right.
I don't like psychics. Whenever there's a psychic, I tune it out.
You weren't tuned in, though.
What?
You weren't tuned in, though.
Because those wormers.
You liked the warmers.
Not when they were skinny dipping. Not like very frustrating to me. Just wear a swimsuit. No one can steal a swimsuit if it's on your body.
Hey,
Burn.
So Bradley touched on this earlier about the whole like gone for the day and coming back.
Right.
They rode their bikes like 12 miles round, like one way to another city to read the papers. That's insane. I remember riding my bike, maybe not 12 miles, but like a lot, like just riding and
Probably the
riding.
equivalent. Yeah.
Yeah, not to another town, but maybe
Right.
just around.
Me too.
Man, those were the days.
I would ride my bike to another cul-de-sac in the neighborhood.
You dirty dog.
I said that to be funny. I know it wasn't. I'm sorry.
Did y'all have a dyno bike?
Brendan is the Brendan Fraser of this group.
Wow, I'll never.
I hate that more than
Wow.
you. Look, I'm like, he's just in Bedazzled is so bad. If you watch him in Bedazzled, it's
Why would you
terrible.
watch Bedazzled?
Yeah, I've never seen Bedazzled. Don't plan to either.
Don't ever watch it, man.
It's a dumb plot.
I didn't want you all to skirt the question though. Did you all have a dyno bike? Like
What's a dyno bike?
the dyno,
I did.
the Dyno Air, the Dyno
I
Max, the big BMX bike?
Yeah,
The
I
answer's
did.
no for Mikey.
I had like a 10 gear.
No, I probably
big deal.
I had a 10.
with pegs on it, and you got your friends would ride on pegs or handlebars.
Is that me or is that what the dyno bike
That's
is?
That's everybody.
Some
right?
dyno bikes.
I
had
didn't
them.
have the pegs.
I didn't either.
I didn't want to share with them.
I wasn't into BMX.
Get your own bike. I'm
Bradley,
riding
did
mine.
you have pegs?
So I remember this very vividly. I went and bought custom pegs at Walmart, and I brought them back because we were like close enough where I could walk to Walmart from my house. I grew up in a really small town, and I came back with I was like 14. I was like, Dad, I got pegs for my bike. You got to help me put them on. And I mean, the wrong size is an understatement for the kind of pegs I bought for the bike I did. And so anyway, it was a really heartbreaking
Were
deal.
they big?
They were huge, not
yes.
proportional to the bike at all. But it's a very vivid memory of my childhood.
Man, yeah. I had a Dyno Air, man. I could ride with no hands. I could stand on the seat. I would get going. I'd stand up on the seat and have one foot on the middle of the handlebars, another one on the seat. I was Johnny Knoxville up on that thing.
Wow.
He hurts himself.
Well, another Johnny Knoxville. I didn't hurt myself.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, I really thought we were all gonna reminisce about our dyno bikes.
I never had a dyno bike. I had a
Yeah,
10
that was,
speed that had like the thing over the hands where I felt cool.
Look, I was more into scooters. I was always scooting around. On my
I had a
little
Razor scooter.
On the
Yep.
Razor.
Yep.
I pretended
Well-
I was like a gang or something.
Speaking of scooters, we better scoot away for a minute and see what the coffee house has this week. So we'll be right back.
Hello, Talk to Remember friends. It's me, Haley. I've been on some podcast episodes before. Maybe you remember, maybe you don't. It's okay. But what you probably do remember is the Coffee House. We're the sponsors of this podcast. And something that we wanted to let you know, it's super exciting. We're reopening Monday, May 4th. Here's a little information about that. So we will be open to in-dining, limited capacity, but we will also be offering curbside. So just give us a call at the coffee house and tell us you want it curbside, and we'll bring it to you. Look out for some themed drinks that we're going to be doing with the guys from Talk to Remember. Follow us at the Coffee House Franklin on Instagram. Our address is 144 2nd Avenue North. If you get confused, there's a little construction going on. See the construction? You're at the coffee house. That's the coffee house in downtown Franklin.
And we're back, and we've got a lot to keep covering. So Taylor, take us on.
All right, so the girls then visit local psychic Willa Dean, who determines Dear Johnny was murdered. On their way home, the girls meet up with local neighborhood kids at a pickup game of softball. A local boy insults Roberta, who begins fighting him. After the fight is broken up, the boy insults Roberta's deceased mother, and Samantha tackles them to begin fighting again.
Okay, so the psychic, we briefly touched on that. That's the same lady from the diner at the beginning of the movie. The ladies are like, she's weird. Well, she's a psychic. So they go in there, and I think she's somebody famous. I know I've seen that lady before.
They pay her
Couldn't tell you what.
$10 to read, to basically do nothing, to flip over some cards.
Yeah, I've never understood, and I guess I've never had anybody read my cards, but I've never understood it. So I don't know.
Wait, do you have cards?
Huh?
How did you get your cards?
Okay, I see what's happening here. All right, so they get in there. The lady basically tells them Dear Johnny was murdered because she shows the card with the swords in the back. Then they go to the softball game.
Yeah.
I'm going to tell you, I was in. When this came, I thought, all right, now we're getting some Sandlot action.
Yep.
Get there. They go to the game. This one little boy starts flirting with Chrissy, and I'm thinking, this is my dude. Then the Wormers are out there on the mound.
Is that the same guy? Pause. The guy is that Bobby from the very beginning who was called over in Red Rover?
It may
Is
have
it the
been.
same
I
guy.
thought it was.
And was that her husband? Did that end
It's
up
her
being
husband. I
Yep.
think it's her husband for sure.
Has to be.
Yeah, definitely her
Has to be.
husband.
So yeah, they're pitching, and there's one boy. So the dudes are playing, but then Roberta goes up to hit, and there's the dude behind her who's so angry. Girls can't play softball.
Can I speak now?
Yes.
Okay, here's what I hated about this. You know, it'd be cool if those guys were playing baseball, the game that was made for men. Instead, they're playing a women's game. Softball is made for women. What is wrong
There are
with them?
thousands of Baptist men right now who are turning their head and rolling over
Look,
in their
men
graves.
can
at that
play
comment.
softball,
And
but,
women can play baseball.
but you
but they-
can't say girls can't play softball.
Exactly. This is not like you play baseball like a girl.
Right.
This is you play softball like the people who play softball professionally. So I'm sorry. I'm an idiot. So if you're a woman and mad at me, I am too. I'm disappointed in myself.
Dude, I thought the insult was really dumb. Even, I mean, just like, just the premise of it. Like, clearly they play softball.
For
like,
sure.
Clearly girls play softball. No, I'm with you, Brandon.
And then Wormer's on the mound, like talking trash, and then lobs it the slowest pitch I've ever seen in my life.
I did love the everybody scooted, scooted, and then he just lobs it up.
My favorite was the fat kid who keeps screaming, "Fat!" Like, I loved that kid.
I did.
Yeah.
And she beat the crap out of that boy, which
did.
again,
Dude, she's terrifying.
Yeah.
Is that Christina Ricci? Is that
Yeah.
her name?
I was scared of her.
She's horrifying.
so that was a fun part, but it ended quick. So
Yeah.
let's
Well,
get
it
back-
ends with what is it? Samantha, the young Samantha, you know, taken up for
Oh, that's right.
taken up for her because he says, "Yeah, well, it's a good thing your mom's dead," or some really horrible insult.
Horrible.
And she jumps back and just whoops him. And so she comes back, she comes home, and she's like covered in dirt, and she walks in. And I think it's where the next paragraph picks up, where mom has a date.
with the guy that I think voices all the Simpsons. I think that
And
this guy is.
It's the guy who's in Minsk in Friends. He's David.
Yes. Yeah.
Oh,
That's who it is. Yep. I knew
David,
him from somewhere.
Phoebe's long lost scientific lover from Minsk.
Take us there, Taylor.
all right. Samantha goes home and unexpectedly meets Bud Kent, a man her newly single mother invited to dinner for their first date. Samantha is standoffish to Bud, who accidentally spills wine on his shirt. Samantha's mother gives Bud one of Samantha's father's old bowling shirts he had left behind. Upset, Sam storms out and flees to Teeny's house, where she is on the roof of her house watching Love Story at the next door drive-in theater.
Okay, pause for just a second. Steve, or what's his name? What I don't know what his name was. Bud. Bud was wearing a scarf
Yes,
in the
he
middle of the summer. Bye. We'll see you, Bud.
Well, I got a lot to say about Bud. Okay, so he comes in. Taylor even said, I think, first date, he gets that wine on him, but he's already talking about maybe we're going to have to take a family vacation to DC. Like,
And he calls her
that's-
mom. He's like, "Well, mom, we're gonna have to take
Yeah.
a vacation." Like they're a nuclear family all of a sudden after
Bold
5
strategy.
minutes.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Don't think it worked out for him.
No.
Okay, sorry. That's all I had to say. That was just ridiculous.
Well, before you move, like we let him go on, the other thing I really liked about this, and there's not much, I would have killed to be able to see a drive-in from my roof. Like, that was awesome.
Yeah.
To be able to just sit out there and do that. Like, I don't know who thought of that little tiny scene to put in this movie that was incredible, but super jealous of that. So that's one good thing I have to say. Wanted to throw it out there.
Was that girl Thora Birch? Is her name the blonde-haired girl?
Yeah.
Like her
Teeny
family
was her
just like
name.
swingers or something? Like
They were
hanging out?
country club people, is all it said.
So they're just really wealthy and just
Yeah.
like to party.
Yeah.
So okay.
Yeah.
Also for Bud, I honestly thought it might be worse. Like I thought he might be like abusive or something. So I was actually kind of relieved that he was just a weirdo
Yeah.
and just coming on too strong.
Yeah.
That's true. He had that vibe for sure. All right, Taylor, take us on.
So they hang out in the treehouse display at the store, where Samantha confesses her parents are getting divorced. Teeny comforts her, then breaks her favorite necklace in two, giving one half to Samantha as a best friends for life bracelet. On their way home during a thunderstorm, Samantha loses her bracelet in a storm drain. When she climbs down to retrieve it, the water rises, trapping her. Crazy Pete, a local old man who only comes out at night to ride his bicycle, pulls her out. He asks them why they're afraid of him, and after they tell him it's creepy that he only comes out at night, he says he prefers not to be around people. Grateful for his actions, the girls now see him differently. At the same time, Roberta is playing basketball in her driveway when Scott Wormer suddenly arrives. They briefly play ball and question why they fight all the time before sharing a kiss. Later, adult Samantha notes that Roberta has stopped. Yes. Later notes that Roberta has stopped taping her breasts after this happened. End of paragraph.
All right. So
Thankful for that last nugget.
Yeah, I really had to get it right, so it was
They
integral
were,
to the plot.
they were in the treehouse. They do the whole bracelet thing. They're heading home, and then it's like a scene from It, where
Gosh.
the thing's gone. So she's got to climb in the sewer. And the minute she's down there, the monsoon hits. Like it goes from no water to 8 foot deep in a matter of seconds. This girl is going to drown if not for Crazy Pete. Like,
Crazy Pete.
that dude just comes in like a knight in shining armor, pulls her out of that sewer. And then, in the only moment I felt through this whole movie, he looks at her and says, "Why are you so afraid of me?" And I loved it. Like, I felt for that guy. I did. So, anybody got anything about any of that?
Man, I mean, you nailed it. It just, the water came quickly, and boy, she, without hesitation, for a bracelet, she hops down into a sewer. These girls, like, say what you will about the movie. These girls are so brave, like way braver than I am. That's for sure.
It was
I wouldn't jump.
Best Friends for Life bracelet. I don't know if that changes things.
It was a sewer. Like,
Honestly,
we
I
ride
didn't even know
our
you could
bikes
go
by the
down
sewer.
sewers.
We ride our bikes by sewers, and I'm like, Rhett, stay far away from that. I don't ever want you to.
That clown will get you.
Oh,
Yeah,
Oh my
crazy,
gosh.
crazy. But yeah, Crazy Pete, man, Scary Pete comes back from the sewer.
and
pretty sweet.
he said, "People don't want to see me," or he says, "I don't want to see people, and I don't think they want to see me." And I mean, I don't know. Did I find out about him after that? Because I thought that was about the time.
No, they found
It's
out
later.
at the graveyard.
Okay, all right. So then we've got the basketball game. If anybody wants to touch on that, because
Well, when did they go to the grandpa? Have they already been to
that's
grandpa?
what I was saying. Like, I thought that happened.
I think they did, because I wrote down a line that I'm gonna have to bleep out. But they're all upstairs in the attic, and they find out about Dear Johnny, and she confesses to she confesses to the other girls about her parents getting divorced. And then who is it? Someone, I forget who it was. I forgot to write who, but they said it's normal for things to be so crappy. And is that not? Am I on the right spot? Remember that part?
So no, okay. So no, what happened there is when they were in the treehouse, like as a display, the girl's talking about her mom and dad splitting, and how she just wishes she had a perfect family like
That's
on
right.
TV. And
That's
the other
right.
girls, like, they're all widows, no family.
Yeah. That's right. Which I thought was really cool.
That
You know,
was
like
good.
this girl who's like, she is the quintessential, like, I'm going to be an actress. I'm going to be like, she's like says some really profound stuff. Like, they're all broken homes. Like, TV isn't all what you think it is anyway. Like the Brady Bunch, they're both widowers, and then everybody else is a widower. So I thought this was pretty cool.
I forgot about that.
Yeah. So there's that. Outside of that, I think we can move on from Stinky Pete, or not Stinky Pete. Scary
But
Pete.
we got to talk about the basketball game. Oops, man, who's going to cover that? Because
Bradley's the one who played basketball in college.
Yeah, Bradley, what
about her form? What about their form? Also, speaking of form, Brandon, we could come back to you on the form for the for the.
I do have something to say, but let's just Bradley, go ahead.
Oh man, couple things. Man, he shows up out of nowhere. Like, it looks actually like
coming between the houses, like from the house.
like kind of weird. I don't even think he saw her shoot, and he was like, "Form's off, got to follow through." I never, and this is just a weird thing for me, I never shoot encumbered. And so the fact that he had on a semi-heavy jacket and shooting and just
during the summer
buckets in the middle of the summer, it's impressive. I'll say that. So,
that's
it's
all
never
clothes or no clothes. That's the warmer way.
I'll say this, when a guy, and this, I think this is true for anything, when a guy is trying to instruct a girl for sports fundamentals, It's never about the sports fundamentals. They don't take any pride in the improvement of your swing or your jump shot. They're just finding it in to get a little quality time and maybe get close. And so, mission accomplished.
Mr. Taylor.
Mission accomplished. Brandon?
Oh,
So, Mr. Wormer, my friend, here's what I liked about what he did. So he sits on that bench, and they've had a nice time playing basketball.
Great
He's
time.
been very charitable with his advice.
Also
And-
with his defense, because
Also with his defense. I will say, she could play some ball. She took it to him.
he was quite the sieve on defense.
He was indeed. And then he looks at her, and I mean, he's just straightforward.
Straight
I
up.
kissed you. Just straight there. And then she kind of has a little, I don't know, like half grin. And because she's, kind of, thinking it over. And then I think she says yes. And then he goes in. And here's what I appreciate about the worm. So I had my first kiss. It's been about 3 years. So I was 27. So he beat me by about 13 years. And so here was my mistake. I forgot to open my mouth at all. So it was kind of like a, I don't know. It's just like a closed boop.
Like a what now?
Like a closed boop. Like, it's just like there's nothing inviting. And what Wormer did is he opened ever so slightly. And he was timid. He was intimidated. But he went in, he opened just slightly, got to get some air in there. And I think they had an enjoyable time.
This is weird for me. I'm gonna tell you why, Brandon. Because you're talking about how Wormer gets it when not 2 episodes ago, you were telling us how to have the perfect kiss.
Look, Mikey, here's the thing. I've learned a lot in 3 years. Okay. Here's the thing. If you fall down, you got to learn how to pick yourself up. And that's the kind of man I am.
Okay.
So, hey, Wormer, he came out of the gate. I doing something right. I was going to think of some metaphor or simile, and I can't think of it. But he came out guns a-blazing is what I meant to say. And I can applaud that. So I thought
The man shot his shot, right?
he shot a shot. He went in
more ways than
hard,
one.
and bam, you can't be afraid.
Uh-uh.
Look, those
Well, you
lips.
can be afraid when she says, if you tell anyone, I'll kill you. And I believe her. I
believe her.
believe her.
Well,
I believe her.
yeah, she did say that.
She's scared.
She does turn out to be a dry, humored gynecologist. So I think we can all give
That's
her
true. That's also, so I read the trivia trying to see if anything else was to come out of it. And one of the only tidbits I found was that Rosie O'Donnell's character was supposed to grow up to be a lesbian, but then they thought, that doesn't really fit with the girls. So they dubbed the line in the beginning, like you don't see anyone say it, you just hear it about how her husband is at work. I don't really know how that changed it. Like they never come out and say either way, but they felt like that line was important.
Did you all think she was a lesbian?
well,
I mean,
she is.
Rosie is, but the character didn't really do anything to at first.
Yeah, I just had never had that thought never entered my mind. I guess
Not
I thought
once.
that was weird.
Yeah, but they made a point to talk about that in the trivia. So
In her character description on Wikipedia, it does the very first sentence is the proclaimed tomboy. So that might be what they were fighting, was just the idea of people stereotyping a tomboy girl into being a lesbian.
maybe
I didn't watch this, so I'm just,
Well, kudos to them for getting out ahead of that.
yeah. They almost
All right,
outed
Taylor.
Rosie.
take us on.
The girls consult Samantha's grandmother about dear Johnny's death. Her grandmother declines to discuss the murder, saying it took her a long time to forget about that tragedy. After her grandmother leaves with friends to play bingo, Samantha and the others climb through a window to get into the attic where Samantha's grandfather had collected and saved old newspapers. They discover from a newspaper article that Jonathan Sims and his mother Beverly Ann Sims were shot and killed when they interrupted a burglary. Father and husband Peter Sims came home to find the bodies. Roberta becomes upset and angry that 2 innocent people were killed and that her mother died violently, contrary to what she was told. Samantha announces that her parents are getting divorced, and the girls make a pact to always be there for one another.
So yeah, a lot more of the seance stuff. Roberta goes crazy and breaks furniture in someone's attic because she can. They find out about Dear Johnny and the murder. I don't know how nobody put together that Pete Sims was Crazy Pete in that moment, but that doesn't come out until later. And then that's the moment the pact was made.
Also, so real quick, don't. I mean, we see these movies, and all the time there's a crazy old neighbor, and you've got like, there's a reason why they're crazy, right? Like, even if you've made up some story, like there was no, he's just crazy because he rides his bike at night,
Right?
Not, oh, that's Crazy Pete. He's crazy because his son and his wife were killed and like brutally shot, and he walked in like. I don't know.
Nobody likes him because of that. Like,
yeah, like he is the one who's demonized in all of this. When the man
so weird.
has like lost his family. The man lost his family.
Very big plot.
He's crazy. Oh, Crazy Pete.
You know who he made me think of? Boo Radley. I love Boo Radley. He's in To Kill a Mockingbird. That is actually Mr. Duvall's first role. Boo Radley. Look it up.
Dynamite dropping.
Nice.
What's
we need a little explosion, like a TNT explosion. Anytime Brandon
Weemopedia.
Dynamite drop.
Oh,
That's classic.
I mean, we've covered all that. Then what happens? They go modern day, I think. Oh no!
No, they go to the cemetery to put. Yeah.
Take us there, Taylor.
All right. So to put Dear Johnny's soul to rest, the girls go to the cemetery to perform another seance.
Oh yeah.
His tombstone suddenly rises surrounded by bright light. A figure appears from behind, but it is only the groundskeeper who chastises the girls for playing in the cemetery and explains that the tombstone was damaged and is being replaced, and he was the one who cracked it. Realizing they never resurrected Dear Johnny, they agree to stop the seances. While leaving, they notice Crazy Pete and Samantha follows him back to the tombstone. Realizing that he is Dear Johnny's father, Peter Sims, she comforts him while he advises her not to dwell on things. Sometime after, the treehouse is finally bought, and Samantha narrates, "The treehouse was supposed to bring us more independence, but what the summer actually brought was independence from each other." So the film returns in 1991, and Chrissy goes into labor and gives birth to a baby girl. Later, in their old treehouse, Roberta reveals that Crazy Pete died the previous year. They then discuss how happy they are in life and make another pact to visit more often.
All right.
Do you remember what they said during their pact?
No,
All for one and one for all.
I did not.
Dude, they stole that from the Three Musketeers.
They did. Straight ripped it.
Yeah. I am borderline irate. I'm not.
You
So
can
yeah,
be.
they go back. They do a seance. They find out they were wrong, and they never resurrected the dead. Go figure. They go modern day. There's
Instead at 1:30 a.m., the groundskeeper is replacing a headstone in a cemetery. Go figure.
They go to modern day. Demi Moore's chain smoking. A kid has a baby, or the lady has a baby. Then then 20 minutes.
They hang out in the treehouse after she's had a baby. With
20 minutes after she gives birth, they play Red Rover, and the movie ends.
Wow.
Like,
oh man.
So I think we jump right into our ending thoughts. And Brandon, because you're so apathetic towards all this, I think you should kick us off.
Great. Well, here's what I'll say here. My favorite character, I don't have one. The treehouse. I don't know. The treehouse. That's mine because it's something. Here's the thing. I'm going to get passionate here for a second.
Here we go.
I have watched Gilmore Girls. I have watched Little Women. And I have watched other female shows. And look, you can do coming of age for women incredibly well. You can do it so well. And this stunk to high heavens. And it's not because it was a Stand By Me version for girls. It wasn't it. It was because they were trying to evoke emotion that wasn't there. You casted people terribly, and you should have never made Demi Moore the person that was the moderator or whatever that person's called. Narrator. And like, I just felt like they were trying to manipulate my emotions. It's like they watched The Sandlot, Stand By Me, and they're like, hey, we're going to take a bunch of random events, throw it together, and coming of age. So I just don't have many positive things to say. Like, they tried. I did like Thor Birch in that Halloween movie, but I didn't even like her in this. And that was too bad because I watched Hocus Pocus and I nearly cried last October because I thought of my sister, and just brotherly love. So yeah, hey, if y'all haven't seen Little Women, y'all all need to go watch it. It is incredible. I love
Brandon, you
Little
laid
Women.
out quite the resume to start this final thoughts.
Thanks, Bradley.
So what about your song?
Okay, so before I get to my song, we need to talk about Little Women a little bit more.
He's
And
thinking.
it's incredible, and y'all will love it. And it's a fairly new release. And I'm gonna give it 2 butterfly tattoos. I'm actually gonna give it 1.9 butterfly tattoos.
1.9.
Yeah, I'm gonna give it 2.5 butterfly tattoos. I'm gonna give it 2.5 butterflies. And for my song, I got one. Hold on. I got one. Holy smokes. This is perfect. This is, oh my gosh. Yep. Hold on. Let me look at the lyrics.
Your stalling is incredible.
Boom, 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 boom. Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more, no more, no more, no more. Hit the road, Jack. And don't you come back no more. Wormers, wormers. What'd you say?
Nailed it.
That's it.
Nailed
All right.
it.
I'm not gonna say anything else the rest of this time. I feel like I'm embarrassed actually.
No.
I feel sheepish. So
Look,
someone
dude,
else's turn.
You're good. Who wants to go?
I'll go.
Okay.
So I would like to hear why, and maybe this is part of your final thoughts, Mike. If it is, let me know why you don't think Stand By Me it equates to that. I mean, on the surface, just like on the surface, you've got 4 girls, 4 guys that Stand By Me. You see them like, I know it's not exact. There is a death, and there's a sort of a mystery about it. So that kind of goes along with it. There's a pact that they make. Like, I mean, like I think to say that has nothing to do with Stand By Me and like that, I think is a little foolish. But I think, I mean, it's not perfect tit for tat for that, but that makes a lot of sense. Why? I think it also resembles Steel Magnolias a lot. And I'll say this, Steel Magnolias didn't reel me in a lot because I felt like they moved so fast throughout the whole, like the timeline moved so quickly. And I think the same thing is with this movie. So I brought on some of that. Plus you've got the weird character, like I think Rosie O'Donnell's character, but as a girl. What's her name? Ricci?
No, she was, Christina Ricci.
Christina Ricci. So her character reminded me of Weezer. Just like you felt for her, but she was kind of out there too. Like just what a big fan of. And then you all said it, Sandlot. Like to me, if Sandlot, Steel Magnolias, and Stand By Me had a baby, I think it would turn out to be Now and Then. I got a lot of feelings. Or a lot of similarities on all those, especially the baseball. I mean, you said here's the Sandlot moment, but even from the get-go, I thought the way that it began with them in present time and then went back and told the story and at the end kind of came back. Now, I wasn't a fan of they said that we're always going to be here for each other. And I want to be really careful in saying this, like, she was having a baby. Like the way the poster reads, you would think that like, they need to be, someone needs to be rescued. There needs to be some dire situation where someone needs to come and they need to be there for each other. But it's a baby, and it's great that they're there. I'm glad that they're there. That it is what it. I mean, that is what it is. But those are the 3 movies that I kind of compared it to. Which I went ahead and started with that because we kind of all 3 of them we said in the middle of it. I thought it was a pretty good comparison of all 3 of those. As far as my favorite character, I think I did enjoy Christina Ricci's character the most. The little girl who's Rosie O'Donnell. She endured a lot of trauma, and you could tell. And at the same time, and maybe it's because I work with students like that age, like 12, 13. They're just, the body is going through a ton. Mentally, they're going through like just so much change. And so there's a part of me that can appreciate all the crazy that was happening. Although I didn't enjoy the movie all that much, I did have a lot. I thought the acting was decent. I thought the girls really played their roles really well. Even the girl, the teenie, like she was this weird, like at the beginning she's reading the Cosmo, and I'm like really uncomfortable that she's talking about this how all of them are like one of them is like a prude, the other one is like sleeps around all the time. Like that part was really weird. But when she says all the stuff like, hey, it's normal for things to be crappy. Like people are, like all these people, like real life is not all puppy dogs and rainbows. Well, TV is not that way either. And so I did kind of appreciate that. There are just a lot of holes that a lot of questions and hypotheticals that I just want to throw out briefly. We don't have to like spend a lot of time digesting them, but just some thoughts that I had at the end. How did they get the treehouse? Like, what did they do to get money to get treehouse? We never knew, and they seem to be paying people all the time. What? So how did they buy the treehouse? The second one, why did they show the delivery scene of the girl having the baby? That was really strange for me. Like, it could have been one of those, blow over. Nope, we got to see a bloody baby. That was really strange for me. Another one, they played the game Truth or Dare. Have you guys ever played Truth or Dare?
No one picks Dare.
No one ever chose Dare. Everybody chose Truth. I thought that was really strange. And at the end, when they talk about Crazy Pete dying, she then says, also, by the way, you guys remember that time we were in the graveyard? Crazy Pete told me this thing that changed my life. Also, did you know that Crazy Pete's dad, Crazy Pete was the dad, and when Jeter Johnny and his mom died? Did you know that? It's like, really? Like that seemed crazy.
Spend a whole summer getting there, and then you're not going to share that in the summer.
Nobody tells anybody. Like it's secrets for life. They really gained their independence and just refuse to talk about that. And then the last one I had was the grown adults playing Red Rover. I think there's got to be some issues there. I would be concerned if my son or daughter was playing Red Rover and adults came to play. And the last thing and we kind of touched on it earlier, that treehouse looks immaculate. Like, the person who has kept up with that treehouse and made sure that the support was all good, like, they deserve a raise. That was incredible. I cannot imagine having a newborn baby up in a treehouse that has been there for 25 years. I think that's just, it's insane to me. So,
and then they apparently left it when they went and played Red Rover.
Yeah, who knows where it's at? Obviously,
they didn't leave long, and that treehouse is sturdy.
Fair enough.
Must be. I think so. I guess another movie that I wrote down, by the way, was Three Musketeers, just because they completely ripped the all for one for all thing. I did not really particularly enjoy the movie, but here's what I'll say. I would venture to say that a lot of girls watching Stand By Me would feel the same way that we feel right now. And so with that, I'm going to back off of my initial reactions to it. Did it make me appreciate? Not appreciate's probably not the right word, but did I kind of give a nod to girls going through like that situation, like Stand By Me does with guys? If you kind of compare, I think it does a fairly decent job. I thought the girls did a great job acting. All the girls did really good. We didn't really see much of the adults all that much, so that's not a huge thing to dissect. But I would say overall, I thought it was a decent movie. It feels bad. I feel like I liked it more than Brandon did, but I'm going to give it a lower number than Brandon. So it feels weird saying this. I would give it a 2. And I wouldn't watch it again. Probably not. I didn't enjoy it all that much, but there is a sense of appreciation that you get, like just these girls growing up together, literally over the summer. They're growing up and physically, mentally, as a friend group. And so I thought it was okay. I did like the soundtrack. The soundtrack was awesome. And so there's a lot of there were some cool things, even though they had giant plot holes. So I'm going to give it a 2.
Okay,
I'm pretty strong about that.
All right, Bradley, you want me to go real quick and you finish this up?
I'll go. I'll let you wrap this thing, unless you want to. I'll let you choose.
It doesn't matter. Whatever you want to do.
You go for it, Mikey. I feel like you're really excited.
Okay. Well, I feel like I've got a lot to kind of. Me and Nate thought a lot the same in a lot of ways. So I was just going to piggyback.
Go for it.
My favorite character was Crazy Pete, just because like he was that old. There's something about an endearing old man. I like it in every movie. If an old man is an outcast and then is endearing, he wins my vote every time. I would have thought I would have picked the Wormers, but Crazy Pete got me in the end. The unsung hero, and it's not even a question, is the graveyard worker. For finally putting that seance crap to rest. That was just a plot point that I hated from the get-go. It lasted an entire movie. It was such a crock. And the fact that he finally ended that and killed it, I am forever thankful. That man is the hero that this movie deserved. Final thoughts, like, it was. I'm gonna agree with you. It was if Stand By Me and Steel Magnolias had a kid. I agree with that. I just liked Stand By Me, and this movie, like, I get what you're saying. I'm a dude, but it revolved around a death. They both did, and this is why we needed a girl here.
Yeah.
It really is, because I can look at Stand By Me and I can tell you, like, 100% factually, if the five of us were 12-year-old kids, and we're walking down the train tracks, we're going to talk about the same stuff those boys did in that movie. Like, that's what boys did. I just don't believe this is what girls were like as kids. Maybe it is, but like all the witchcraft stuff and like it just seemed like not a good representation for their childhoods. And so to say that it is the Stand By Me for girls, I just didn't buy it. I hated the seances. I hated the soldier. There was a lot of real about adults and broken relationships and the toll that takes on kids. But honestly, like, I don't think the adult versions, the Demi Moore, Rosie O'Donnell, Rita Wilson, Melanie Griffith, even needed to be in this movie. Mm-hmm. I think that you could have cut the beginning and the end out. I think they were only in it to give it A-list power to do better at the box office. And I don't know if it did or not, but like, their whole part seemed pointless to me. It should have just been an all kids movie. Let's see. I will say, I didn't care for it. I mean, that's obvious. I'm not hiding that at all. But the plot has been better than some of the movies we watched, just in the sense that the acting was good. And I liked how it shows, even though their reasoning was dumb, like, sometimes it is good to go back where you come from and just be around the people that knew you back when. So I like that. That said, if this was Demi Moore, retelling her childhood, I don't know how she's a best-selling author, because this story was garbage. I gave it 2.2 tats because Tutu was about as girly of a score as I could give it. And I'm guessing that if girls like this, that's great. We have one more chance at a coming of age movie, and I'm really hoping we find something that does it for girls right, because this one just, to me, did not. And so that's where I landed. Bradley.
So, man, great job, guys. I don't know how much I have to add, but I'm going to try. I just want to bring it back to what this podcast is. It's a talk to remember, where some middle-aged dudes are trying to figure out if some of these movies we can watch. Mm-hmm. Okay. This is not one of those. I was just honestly really uncomfortable 65% of this movie. And I realize it's coming of age. And once again, the Sandlot comparison is really good, because I resonate with a lot of those, the boys in Sandlot. And so I was wondering about that, but the girls talked about sex and the changing of their bodies. I know that's something you go through, and it wouldn't have been if there was just one scene with a parental conversation or a couple of remarks, but like, they kept going back to those things. And with my 2020 eyes, 29-year-old Bradley eyes, hearing that and seeing that, the skinny dipping thing, the taping of the boobs, like all of those things, I was just like, I am feeling very weird about this whole deal. And so I understand embracing the reality of that, but like, they did too much, and it hopped over the line for me of, okay, it's uncomfortable. It's not just reality anymore. It's too much. Cause even if I think Sandlot alludes to some of that from a young boy's perspective, but that's not what the whole movie's about. That's not even a big percentage. And so I think they just really tried really hard to be a little more edgy in that sense. A couple of pros, I do think the nostalgia, the soundtrack, and I do think some of the conversations they had, it really does bring an accurate depiction to what a broken family does to children, to kids. Like, they stop, like, hope kind of falters. They put a lot more reliance on each other than their family or their parents. And there were just a lot of broken situations that you did kind of feel the pain of that, which I appreciated. I do think the acting was good for the most part. I echo a lot of what you guys said, but it's just weird. Like, my favorite character is probably the oldest brother skinny dipping aside, thought the basketball scene was funny. He was the pitcher in the baseball game. Like, he's just a 12 or 13-year-old dude trying to make moves, and it was fun watching that process. It was probably my favorite, but I just really didn't like this movie. Because once again, because of our podcast and the perspective we bring, it would be really weird if I was like, called you guys one day and was like, hey, Nathan was visiting, all the four of y'all hanging out. That's cool. What'd y'all do? Oh man, we just popped in now and then, and we watched the four guys. Like, that would make me very concerned for you guys. And so, once again, would love to hear a girl's perspective. Maybe on social media, somebody can chime in. But all of that to say, how do I make it more guy friendly? Take I guess not take the DVD out. Exit out of this, scroll over to Sandlot, push play, and that's guy friendly. I actually gave it way lower than anybody. I put 1.5 based on nostalgia, the realism, and the soundtrack. I just really, too much. I think that's the simplest phrase. It's just too much.
You know, Bradley, I like what you said about the broken family, because it is so true. Like, I think because almost none of these girls, maybe like Rita Wilson's character had a good fit, but the others didn't. And man, it showed. And it felt like there was no hope. And that's maybe why I struggled with it so much. If there was just some hope for these girls or some redemption, it may have been a little bit better.
Yeah. And even them just talking to grown men the way they did, I was like, this isn't, nope. Nothing to do with this. I hated that too. So anyway, that was for me. 1.5.
I'll say this just to kind of like, I remember being 12 years old. I had a potty mouth and my mind was in the gutter all the time. So to say that these girls like guys, I mean, I had jokes, little Johnny jokes. I mean, like, to say that, like, maybe I'm just more of a heathen, but like, I don't think that, I wouldn't say that they talked more about sex and that kind of stuff than guys would have that, at least in my experience, that guys would have.
But I would say for a movie's watching perspective, like I said, if there were a couple allusions to that, it made me remember, oh yeah, I was a, potty mouth. Like, I remember figuring things out, saying things to see if they're funny. Like, I get that, but I think there was too much, they really harped on that more than I feel like was needed.
Well, and let me clarify. I was extremely uncomfortable watching this as well. I'm not saying, but I think that's why, because like it was just interesting. Like, me as a 12-year-old thinking that girls at the same time were thinking weird things too was just enlightening, to say the least. And this movie, I had to watch it, and I was like, I don't want to do that again.
So Taylor, after hearing all of this.
Mm-hmm.
Is this a movie that you would watch? Pay no attention to if an adult man watches this, he's a weirdo. Would you watch this movie?
I'm going to take a pass.
Oh, okay. All right.
Good on you, man. Good on you.
Pass on watching this.
All right, fair enough. Well, then I think we did our job. I want to echo what Bradley said. Because we had people vote for this. People said, hey, you're doing a coming of age, do now and then. If you are one of those people and you are a female, let us know. Like, is this a good example of a female coming of age story? Because I'm not buying it, not completely. So I would love your opinion. But it's been a good conversation. That's about all that was good.
We did it.
we had it. We made it through. This was glitter worthy.
Oh, come on.
I did
Jeez.
not. I just stumbled through the whole thing, man. I did.
Man, well, you falsely represented that with your number.
Well, I said 2.2 because it was girly.
You could have gone 0.22. You went 2.2, which is better than what I gave it. And I liked it.
But a tutu is what a young girl wears, and it's coming of age. So I just went there. This has been a talk to remember. You may not remember the movie. You won't. But we hope you remember the talk. Goodbye.
Peace.
For romance, somehow these dudes are our only hope.
I hope you do not remember the movie, but you know the talk. Bye.